regarding um, whether to buy or whether to rent, and where do I fall in, us in the middle of the COVID, in the middle of um, everything that we've been facing in this country and around the world. And what I've really always kind of stood behind is in our country, we operate under a boom bust cycle, economically speaking. And so when we're at the top of that cycle, is the wrong time to buy, but the best time to sell. This doesn't seem like rocket science, but I find people all the time that tell me, oh yeah, but you don't understand. This house is in the right neighborhood, in the right school district. They've got their list, and it's perfect. My answer to them and my answer to you is, that's great, but make sure that you're planning on being there at least 15 years, because this next cycle that we're going through is not going to be a pleasant one, and it's going to be long, because we never went through the one we needed to go through in following 2008. It's the equivalent of everybody getting loaded, drunk, and then not going through the hangover they needed to go through. And so we need to brace ourselves for the fact that this is going to be a long cycle. So on the topic of real estate, if you're a buyer, it depends what your purpose is. When I made that statement, what I'm referring to is people with their home purchases, where they're personally going to be living. Investment real estate and those types of things are very different, or people who flip properties. I have a lot of people I work with that are very much into, they do privatized banking with me, and that helps to fund their other alternative investments, often real estate. So that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a primary residence. Also, people who are on the bubble or considering selling. My idea has always been, when you're somewhere toward the top of the cycle, we've just gone through a bust, whether because of COVID or whatever you're feeling the reason is. I feel that COVID just pricked the bubble that needed to be deflated anyway to get things down to a more practical level. So often what I tell people is, sell your house right now and then go and rent for like a year or two. Because and also go look at the comps for the neighborhood that you're looking at, and go look at it, what those prices were in 2006, and then also look at them in 2008, 9, and possibly 10. That'll give you a real clear vision and perspective on exactly what you're looking at, because those are the windows of time that are really important. If the value of that property is a lot closer to '06, you may really seriously want to reconsider, or know that you're going to be there a long enough period of time, because real estate, specifically homes, have become commoditized, and that means they work like all other types of investments, sort of. It's a very rough way of explaining it. But the point is, they're not like they were for our grandparents and our parents, for some of you, your parents. It's not as stable an environment as it once was. In fact, I don't even know that all of you know this, but they've gone back to a no-doc situation where people can actually apply for loans and not have to produce documentation of assets to provide the fact that they are credit worthy enough to be able to own that property or to have a mortgage on that property. I have a lot of problem with that, because that is creating a more unstable environment, but more importantly, we have to be aware of that, because when I say rent for a couple of years, the nice thing is, see, if you know what's happening, you'll know what to do. So just try this on. I'm not telling you to commit to it, and again, it's my philosophy, is that if you rent for a couple of years and you look at those prices from '06 to 2009, 2010, it was after the bust, and some of those people were holding properties they couldn't afford to hang on to, but they were under the impression those values were going to come back. The reality is they didn't come back. Now, a lot of marketplaces are very different right now, and they have come back, and they're maintaining, which is great. But just keep in mind what's happening, and you may find yourself in a position where you could get twice the house for half the price. Also, by the way, going to have the same kind of an inventory problem, because bad money follows. The bad actors go somewhere. They don't just disappear. So the bad actors from What happened in the Great Recession, that money followed cars. And some of you have seen some of the articles that I've put out on that topic years ago. And that we're going to be in a situation where we have a massive surplus of vehicles. So you may want to actually hold off on making a purchase of a vehicle if you can, because you may be able to get a much better vehicle or much more vehicle or newer. I'm personally not a fan of buying brand new vehicles. I'm just too cheap, I guess. But it's just a poor use of money. I don't want to drive off the lot and have it be worthless. But if I won the lottery, I would probably buy a brand new car, but not until then. Anyway, so a couple of pieces of information there, real estate wise and regarding vehicle purchases. By the way, Hertz, it's a great example. They're putting most of their fleet up for sale. So that's kind of a leading indicator to you as well. If you have any other questions on these or any other topic, please feel free to reach out for me. I'm happy to field questions. And if you're not ready, keep watching.